As many of you know, and if you think back, we created the Blue Ribbon Commission, and during that window of time, even I thought that perhaps our goal of 1,000 affordable housing units was a formidable task. But today I can say to you that this city is not only moving in the right direction, but we certainly conquered that goal. Over the last 3 years, Salt Lake City has fundamentally shifted how we think and how we act on housing. We established the city's first housing plan in over 2 decades, growing SLC. And all the team members from HAND, raise your hands, because these are the rock stars who really helped develop that amazing plan. At the heart of this plan has been equity and fairness for all people in Salt Lake City. We intentionally made our housing plan 5 years instead of the usual 10 or 20 because we wanted to take bold action and we wanted to take it now. With our plan in place, Salt Lake City then did something almost impossible for cities to do. We established ongoing revenue for us to be able to implement the growing SLC plan. Through our Funding Our Future initiative, with the support of the City Council, the city's affordable and fair housing efforts have their first source of ongoing revenue ever. And that is a big deal. With a plan and funding in place, Salt Lake City has been able to fill in gaps through which vulnerable people fall. When I first put forward our Funding Our Future initiative, I said it would allow us to control our destiny, to be able to move forward on the things important to us, even if, as we have seen over the last few years, federal financing becomes more limited and competitive. I am proud to be the mayor of a city that has prioritized housing and community development, both in our policies and in our spending. In the last 3 years, we have put over 2,500 affordable housing units into the pipeline, a 10-fold jump from when I first came into office. We are working with our partners like never before, the builders, the bankers, and the nonprofits. All of you who are represented here today, all of you have been working with us on innovative solutions. As mayor, I have had the good fortune of being able to work with the best team, both inside and outside of City Hall, to create the cultural shift in housing that I wanted and I knew our city needed. Because we have focused on creating a cultural shift and prioritize people over numbers, I am confident that we have created something that will stand the test of time. Together, we gather to celebrate those who have spent their professional lives investing in the people and places of Salt Lake City. I will have the opportunity to thank Sean McMillan and Claudia O'Grady, who will be receiving a key to the city today, but personally have the opportunity to also say thank you to the other honorees. Michelle Hutchins from HUD, this year's Fair Housing Leader, the Disability Law Center, this year's Housing Partner, Rob Ferris, this year's Community Development Leader, and Utah Community Action, this year's Community Development Partner. Thank you for all you have done to help build a city for everyone. In closing, I'd also like to thank our Housing and Neighborhood Development team for creating this moment for us to share today. These awards, which I know will continue, are indicative of how HAND has helped make Salt Lake City, once again, the recognized leader in housing and development. Thank you.
everyone. Thank you for coming and thank you for your wonderful words, Mayor. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce and say a few words about our Fair Housing leader, Michelle Hutchins. Michelle is the Equal Housing Opportunity Specialist with the Office of Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity with HUD. When it comes to upholding the protections of the Fair Housing Act, there is none more dedicated in Utah than Michelle Hutchins. When asked about her role in the community, she said, "Civil rights is my passion, and I knew I found my calling when I was hired at HUD. I specifically enjoy working with developers, architects, and housing providers to ensure they are building and rehabilitating their buildings to correct accessibility standards." For the past 19 years, Michelle has been a lead specialist for equal housing opportunities and fair housing matters. She is a regional and national subject matter expert on physical accessibility and Section 504, in addition to numerous other fair housing and civil rights issues. Michelle is always willing to lend her expertise to HUD staff, community partners, and the general public to address fair housing issues both in Utah and throughout the region. Michelle got her start in Utah at NeighborWorks when it was known as Neighborhood Housing Services, where she served as the associate director. While much of her time was spent overseeing the housing rehabilitation program, she started the first-time homebuyer program, which created a path for many low-income residents to realize the dream of homeownership. To further her impact in the community, Michelle worked in Mayor Cordini's office as the community relations specialist and assistant to the chief of staff. 18 years ago, she found her way to HUD, where her passion of civil rights took to new heights. It will not come as a surprise to hear that Michelle is recognized nationally within HUD for her investigative leadership. If there is a high-impact review happening somewhere in the U.S., it is highly likely that Michelle has been involved in some capacity. While her ability to provide much-needed fair housing expertise is admitted by many, Michelle's value is nowhere more treasured than in this community that she calls home. Michelle, we thank you for your continued partnership, continued expertise, and continued advocacy. You are truly a fair housing leader. Please join me up here. Michelle, would you like to say something?
Hello, everybody. I just am so shocked to get this, actually, and so thankful to everybody that nominated me and gave me this opportunity. As I said, civil rights is my passion. I love it. Fair housing is where I belong. And with all the different community things that I've done, I just think that civil rights is where, you know, my heart is. And helping someone, I mean, just one person to not be discriminated against is so key. And it's, you know, what I really love to do. So thank you, Mayor, for doing this. I think it's great that you're doing it during Fair Housing Month, and I think the more we communicate about civil rights, the more we communicate about fair housing, because even after 51 years since the Fair Housing Act has passed, we still have a lot of discrimination, and unfortunately it's just getting bigger and bigger, and we want to make sure that with communication we can make sure that we get rid of a little bit of it. And so thank you again.
Good morning, my name is Marilyn Lewis, and it's a pleasure to be here with all of you. Our fair housing partner is the Disability Law Center. The Disability Law Center in Salt Lake City is committed to enforcing and strengthening laws that protect opportunities, choices, legal rights, and people with disabilities throughout Utah. The Disability Law Center recognizes the varied needs of more than 300,000 people with disabilities in Utah. The scope of their work includes the following priorities, such as accessibility, civil rights, voting rights, and fair housing. The Fair Housing Program at the Disability Law Center serves people from all protected classes, race, color, ethnicity, sex, gender, religion, disability, familial status. Not just people with disabilities. Utah law also protects against discrimination based on source of income, sexual orientation, and gender identity. This program serves Salt Lake City and all areas of Utah to ensure housing rights are upheld and that micro and systemic discrimination is not present. Experiences are covered by the Fair Housing Acts, and the DLC attorneys and advocates will investigate claims to determine the appropriate action. The Disability Law Center helps ensure that people who belong to protected classes have equal access and opportunity to rent and own homes and apartments in their communities, including ensuring that landlords and property owners do not discriminate in renting or selling property, making sure that housing is accessible to people with disabilities to the extent required by law. Advocates to increase the amount of accessible, affordable, and integrated housing. Provide fair housing trainings for providers, landlords, and consumers of housing. Conducting fair housing testing to ensure that landlords are complying with fair housing laws. Enforcing fair housing laws through administration and judicial complaint processes. Additionally, the DLC conducts fair housing testing to make sure landlords and housing providers are following the law. They assist people with disabilities on accommodation issues in housing and deal with all protected classes and advocates for those who have experienced discrimination. The DLC also conducts fair housing trainings to teach people about housing rights. Overall, the DLC envisions a community where every Utahn can live and work without fear of being discriminated against, bullied in schools, denied access to programs, or become victims of abuse or neglect. Where Utahns with disabilities finally have the opportunity to live with the same rights as those without disabilities. On behalf of Salt Lake City, I'm honored to recognize the Disability Law Center as our 2019 Fair Housing Partner. Receiving the award will be Barb McGuire, the Fair Housing Program Coordinator at the DLC. Barb, would you please join me?
Good morning, everyone. I feel really honored to be here today to receive this award on behalf of my agency. So thank you, Mayor. And congratulations to Michelle. She's very well deserving of her award as well. It's been a pleasure to work with her for the past 7 years. It's been also really great to work with the city. We've worked on a lot of really great projects with each other. One of the most memorable for me has been with the Office of Diversity and Human Rights to provide housing rights trainings to refugee residents here in Salt Lake. You have to say that there have been a couple times the city has been a little naughty, and we've had to have some conversations, but the city's always been very receptive to what we've had to say, and so we look forward to partnering and working together in the future. Thank you all again.
My name is Jennifer Schumann, and I have the pleasure of being the Interim Deputy Director of Housing and Neighborhood Development. All those folks who raised their hands are my team, and so I just want to start by saying thank you to all my team for making this happen and pulling it all together. I am super excited to present the Community Development Leader Award to Rob Ferris, CEO of Advantage Services. Let's learn a little bit about Rob, okay? Rob is a retired disabled Army Staff Sergeant with over 35 years of leadership, counseling, and instructor experience. During the past 18 years, Rob has demonstrated continued success in creating, implementing, and maintaining social enterprises and educational programs throughout the community. As the CEO of Advantage Services, he has led the agency from the edge of closing down to an organization that employs hundreds of employees every year that are homeless individuals. Rob and his team work side by side their employees as they learn critical work and life skills on a path to locating and maintaining housing stability and finding long-term employment solutions. Rob has provided the leadership necessary to implement this vital program. As an advocate for the homeless, incarcerated, and those just down on their luck, Rob has stepped in to be at the crux of collaboration surrounding homelessness and employment. He is always the first to step in and say, yes, how can we help? Tell me what you need. Rob is originally from Colorado, but we try not to hold that against him. When he moved to Utah in 2001, he fell in love with the place and has never left. I don't think he can be called an implant any longer. You're a true Utahn. He's married and a proud papa and a proud grandpa. He is an ordained minister and has volunteered in the prison and county jails for the last 18 years, helping people re-enter society after incarceration. Professionally, Rob has served in many capacities. I'm going to read just a few of them because I don't want to mess them up. I was just joking with him and said, you are like chairman of the year. He is the chairman of the Homeless Housing Coordination Council, the chairman of the State Rehabilitation Council, chairman of the Utah Statewide Independent Council, and a member of the Dignity to Work Task Force. He's a busy man. Rob, we have the utmost respect and admiration for you and your leadership in our community. We appreciate everything that you do, and thank you for having a shoulder for us to all lean on. Thank you for being a voice in our community, and thank you for always being such a strong leader. It's hard being a celebrity and knowing where to live.
When I found out that I had won this award, I was truly shocked. And I told my board of directors, well, if being leadership or being leader means hiring people who are smarter than you, that's me. I'd like to sit up here and take credit for everything that they talked about that we do as a company, but my leadership team is here with me today, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. Omar Rojas, Jessica Jacobs, and Carissa Tiao, as well as our administrations manager, Terry Fredrickson, they run the ship. As you can tell, I sit on a lot of committees, a lot of councils. I tell them I'm the bureaucrat of the company, I'm the pretty face, and they're the backbone. Without them, I wouldn't be up here today. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dylan Hayes, and I'm a grant administrator at Salt Lake City. So I have the pleasure of working with some really amazing partnership agencies, many of whom are in this room. So it is my pleasure to be able to introduce our community development partner, Utah Community Action. Utah Community Action's mission is to empower individuals, strengthen families, and build communities through self-sufficiency and education programs. Founded in 1965, today UCA serves over 50,000 individuals every year in Salt Lake, Tooele, and the Tri-Counties. UCA operates 6 core programs targeted towards income-eligible households: Head Start, their housing and case management, heat, utility assistance, weatherization of homes, adult education, and nutrition. UCA's strategies help Utah individuals facing poverty to both address immediate needs and find long-term solutions to their own unique barriers. Programs are designed to deliver holistic services and build upon the strengths of their clients. Many clients access multiple programs. For example, Head Start parents pursue career development through UCA's adult education program. And clients working towards housing stability with case management and housing often access the heat utility assistance program to offset high energy costs in the winter months. I'm going to give you some agency highlights here. Their nutrition program, every day UCA provides 5,700 healthy meals to Head Start children as well as other children in the community. Their adult education programs include GED and ESL classes, a 10-month Child Development Associate credential, a 12-week Sauté culinary job training program, financial success classes, and more. The Head Start is providing academic, health, and socio-emotional development for children from birth to age 5. There are over 40 locations and 2,197 children served. The Heat Utility Assistance Program assists 12,183 households, distributing $4.3 million in winter utility benefits. Weatherization is increasing the safety and energy efficiency of homes. In 2008, they served 155 homes, on average the equivalent of $44,175 in savings for their clients. Their case management and housing program was able to assist 1,228 individuals in housing crisis with payment assistance, 378 individuals with eviction prevention, and 511 were able to increase their financial capacity. So on behalf of Salt Lake City, I'd like to present the Community Development Partner Award to Utah Community Action for all their continued work in providing a platform where our residents can become more self-sufficient and build resiliency. Receiving the award will be Jennifer Godfrey, CEO of Utah Community Action.
Good morning. This is truly such an honor. I would like to thank Mayor Jackie Biskupski and the Housing and Neighborhood Development Division for this recognition. So I commend Salt Lake City for truly taking a lead on housing forefront for not only fair but affordable housing and the need within our community. Utah Community Action is grateful to be one of your honored partners, and we are truly honored for this recognition today. So thank you so much for your continued support.
Well, congratulations once again to Michelle and Rob, the Disability Law Center and Utah Community Action. We truly are grateful for the partners that we have in this city and to you for all that you are doing to help people rise up and live independent and successful lives. Over the past 3 years, I have used the key to the city to honor individuals who have used their voices, talents, or resources to improve the community in significant ways. Since taking office, I have only awarded 6 of them to distinguished individuals. With housing stability being one of my priority areas, I thought it only appropriate to honor 2 such people with the award today, Claudia O'Grady and Sean McMillan. In many ways, Sean McMillan is walking proof of a concept. As someone in long-term recovery, Sean has provided a needed voice to conversations surrounding treatment and housing for decades. All too often, policymakers and others put enthusiasm for their ideas before the people they are intending to serve, which is why we need experts like Sean at the table. Not only does Sean understand his work from a personal angle, he has spent decades learning and, most importantly, listening about what works and what doesn't. For the last 14 years, Sean has expanded the reach and healing influence of the First Step House, playing a major role in some of our cities and states' most critical efforts to address addiction, homelessness, and community stability. During my time as mayor, as Salt Lake City began shifting how we serve those most in need in our community, Sean and First Step House have been invaluable resources. From Operation Diversion to stepping up to build the first permanent supportive housing our city has seen in a very long time, if not maybe a decade, Sean and First Step House have been there. Without question, Sean sees the bigger picture. He understands the critical intersection between housing and treatment, homelessness and healthcare. Sean has also been instrumental in saving countless lives and bringing stability to many more. For these reasons and many more, I am pleased to recognize Sean McMillan as a distinguished member of our community with this key to the city.
Good morning, everyone. There's a story about how this happened. I didn't realize this was about a recognition until Friday. Mayor Biskupski, I am so profoundly honored that you would think so highly of me, that your team would think so highly of me. I'm humbled. What I do, I don't do because want recognition or anything like that. What I do is about helping men and women who struggle, step up, and live differently. And that's all I want to do, And the other part of it is I would be doing what I'm doing anyway, not because I might get a recognition of some kind. The other thing I want to say about all of this is what a profoundly healthy, vibrant city that we've created, that somebody like me would be getting a key to the city. That's the kind of place I want to live. I could say so much more about that. I take sunset pictures, and last night was particularly beautiful. And I knew that if I turned around, I would see snow-capped mountains. How fortunate are we that we live in a city that is willing to take on hard problems, and do the things that we do. Everybody in this room, we collaborate a lot. I talk to folks from other places, and they don't do the kinds of things that we do. They just, I don't think that they do, because we know each other and we've got a common purpose. The other thing I wanted to say today is that I know well that the only reason I'm standing up here is because I've had good mentors. People have given me opportunity and then let go and let me do the creative things that I have done. And so my work is just building on someone else's. The other is that I love my city and I want to cultivate the next generation leaders. I am certainly not done. I got more work to do, and want to do it. But there's a generation that's coming up, and I want to support that development as well. And I think that the folks in this room understand that idea as well. And so let's be sure to remember to cultivate those who are going to take over when we're done. Thank you very much.
So stay here for a second, because I want to read the words on this document for you. As Mayor of Salt Lake City, I present the key to the city to Sean McMillan, recognizing his exceptional work in treatment and housing. Not only is Sean a compassionate and engaged community leader, he has shown he isn't afraid to advocate for the disadvantaged. Thank you. Okay. Our last award, but you know how that goes. We save the best. No, everyone's the best. Claudia Grady is a problem solver. In fact, when it comes to ensuring affordable housing as a key component to a city's development, I don't think Claudia sees problems at all. I think she sees an opportunity to partner and an opportunity to innovate and advocate. In early 2017, when I first convened my Blue Ribbon Commission on Affordable Housing, there were doubters in the room. I brought the bankers, the builders, and the nonprofit housing experts together because I wanted a path to get a significant number of affordable units into the pipeline quickly, with a focus on transitional housing to coincide with the new resource centers we are building. While some said it wasn't possible, Claudia helped make it happen. Claudia helped secure significant tax credits for 3 of our priority projects, 2 of which we broke ground on in just the last few weeks, including Sean's First Step House expansion. Without Claudia's voice and advocacy and activism in her role with Utah Housing Corporation, it is very likely those projects would not have been built, certainly not in the timeline they are. The 225 units from the Blue Ribbon projects alone will transform lives and bring stability to the entire homeless services network we are building. And of course, Claudia has been doing this for decades, helping organizations and individuals understand how best to utilize tax credits and advocating for projects which will produce the best results. When it comes to affordable and fair housing, we need more Claudias in the room. People who can see the solutions lying beyond the problems. People who are willing to work toward yes, because it's the right thing to do, rather than just quickly say no, because it's the way it's always been done. For these reasons and more, I am pleased to recognize Claudia O'Grady as a distinguished member of the community with a key to the city. Come on up. So we're going to read this first, and then I'll give you your key. As Mayor of Salt Lake City, I present the key to the city to Claudia O'Grady, recognizing her outstanding commitment to affordable housing solutions. Claudia's knowledge and direction has directly helped shape the inventory of affordable housing units across this state. Thank you.
Thank you. I am deeply honored to be given this recognition, especially because I sit among such accomplished and committed community development professionals, all of you who have been recognized today and all the others who have yet to be recognized. It seems that for my part, what I do every day is simply go to a job that I love and which gives me tremendous purpose and fulfillment of a truly meaningful mission. That is a joy, not a job. And I suspect that's a feeling that resonates with everyone in this room. Thank you to Utah Housing Corporation, my employer, for letting me come back every day and do what we do. I work with a tremendously talented and dedicated and smart and fun group of individuals. I want to thank Mayor Biskupski for elevating the issue of fair and affordable housing. It was not that long ago that using the phrase affordable housing, or heaven forbid, something like low-income housing, carried a political charge that most elected officials avoided. Mayor Biskupski ran a campaign that bravely led out on the issue and talked very directly about permanent supportive housing, affordable housing, fair housing, and addressing the homeless crisis. I'm very grateful for that leadership. Thank you to all of the community partners out there. Together we have moved a few mountains, but it's the mountains that have yet to be moved that excite me. Thank you.
Fancy paperwork. All right. Well, you want to come up, Jen, and do a little closer? All right.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you especially for your passion on these issues of housing and equity. It's a real honor to work for the city right now. Congratulations again to everyone who was honored this morning with these well-deserved recognitions. Also, a huge thank you to the HAND team for all of your coordination this morning and for all that you do to lead our community in this work. You guys are the best, and your work does not go unrecognized. Thank you so much. This morning we celebrate that here in Salt Lake City, we have been able to use community development funds to empower our residents, facilitate access to opportunities, create healthy housing, and to improve community spaces. Through these efforts, we continue to build resilience throughout our community. While the programs and projects have been impactful, we cannot stop now. There is still much work to be done. Many of our own friends, families, and perhaps people we see every day continue to struggle to access stability in their lives. They need our help. They need your help. With those parting words, we thank you again and say congratulations to the recipients. This concludes our event. We hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you again for being here. Please feel free to eat more food and enjoy the wonderful company here today in this room. Thank you so much.